Okay, so we saw two of them tonight, and we saw one of them yesterday. The one we saw yesterday, we rewatched Dead Don't Die.
Yes, the Jim Jarmusch zombie movie.
Yeah, and that movie, under repeat viewings, does hold up. In fact, I think it's better after
I
I
liked
see
it better the second time.
Yeah, it's a very well-constructed movie. The tone of that movie is really good. It's really comforting to watch that movie in a weird way.
Yeah, there is something... You know what's really weird? And I told him this yesterday. I was like, when we were coming home from watching it, I was like, this really makes me want to watch a Coen Brothers movie, specifically Raising Arizona. Yeah. It reminds me of that kind of tone.
Yeah, it's not a fast-paced movie.
No, it just ambles
but it goes along at the right pace, and you're enjoying it as it's going, and you're laughing at people. And there's a lot of clever shit happening in the movie. Yeah, there's
like
a lot of little clever
angles
that they do.
I feel like in some ways, like this is what would actually happen. Like if a zombie apocalypse ever did happen in this particular way. This is how it would go down, like in this small town. Like everybody would be kind of like, "Huh, check that out," and it would just be like this slow-paced kind of. Yeah,
and I told you so.
It wouldn't be. Yeah, it wouldn't be like this big, like everyone screaming and running and looting and everything like that. It would just be like this really low-key. So I think that's like. Yeah. The best aspect of the movie for me. Like,
but then as it goes, it gets self-aware. They're like, well, I read the script, and then they start talking about the director in the middle of the fucking movie, and Bill Murray just knocks it out of the park, and so does Adam Driver. I mean, the whole cast is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the interaction between the two of them is like easily the best part of the movie. They're just like so dry and so funny, and they like play very well off each other, and they don't even really have to say anything.
No, you just know.
It's just like their facial expressions and stuff. And that the one part, like after the zombies first strike and they like eat these two women. And then just that whole sequence where like the cops come and like they go eat one at a time. They all go in and look at the bodies and they all have like the fucking reactions that are just priceless. And I don't know if like anybody else could pull that off.
And on second viewing, Tom Waits was really an important part of that movie.
Yeah.
More important than I remembered him on the first. He did a really good job. That was a cool character.
Hermit
Bob. He's totally unaffected by the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, he's almost like, he's like the outside.
He's like the narrator
type character. Yeah. But yeah, we like I said, since we have the A-list thing, sometimes we're like, well, there wasn't a lot.
So we'll rewatch a good one.
So we said we just wanted to see this. I mean, we were actually going to see Toy Story 4 this week, but then the times didn't work out.
Yeah.
So we just went ahead and watched Dead Don't Die again because we liked it so much the first time.
I want to buy this on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray?
On Blu-ray. On Blu-ray.
Is that like a Blu-ray?
It's like a Blu-ray is the triple X.
I was going to say that's Blu-ray.
I'm gonna buy it on Blu-ray. I'm gonna buy it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's definitely worth getting. I think. Like I said, if you like that kind of like very dry kind of humor, then you'll really dig it.
Yeah. Okay, we saw Anna, too.
Yes.
Anna was story about a KGB assassin. She's also like a fashion model. That's her cover. It's basically a lot like La Femme Nikita.
Well, it's the same director.
It's the same director.
Luc Besson. He also did Fifth Element and The Professional and... Yeah, Yeah. That's why it's like La Femme Nikita, because it's the same director.
Yeah, although I must say, this was not a bad movie. I liked La Femme Nikita better.
Well, I did too, La Femme Nikita, the classic.
Right.
But I actually didn't mind this one. My favorite part of this one, I think, I liked Cillian Murphy's character. He was like the CIA guy. And I also really liked Helen Mirren's character. She was like a higher up in the KGB, and she was hilarious.
Yeah. There's only one thing that I didn't like about the movie, and I thought tonally it had one problem where normally the movie's kind of serious.
Yeah.
And I liked that. But then sometimes when she would go on these missions, it would go straight John Wick. Yeah. And she would start doing things that were just not possible for a 110-pound woman to do. You know what I mean? She'd have 5 guys on her that, each one of them weighed 20 to 40 pounds more than her, and she still beat their asses. It just kind of took me out of it. It was just not, the combat scenes they were stylistic, They weren't realistic. And to me, it was like a tonal clash between a kind of realistic movie and then all of a sudden a stylistic fight scene.
Yeah.
It seemed like that the fight scenes came from another movie. Like if the rest of the movie was over the top John Wick style, it would have worked.
Yeah.
But it was just too damn realistic a lot of the times, and then it goes into that, and I was just like, what the fuck are they doing? I didn't like the fight scenes. But overall, it was a decent movie. I liked it. It was
I thought it was pretty good. Like, it kept me involved. I kind of liked the way, since a European director, it wasn't structured like what it would do generally is like they would have like a situation unfold,
and you go like, what the fuck happened?
And you were like surprised by the outcome of the situation, and then they would go, oh, 3 months ago,
and they would do a flashback.
They would set it all up, so you'd be like, oh, that's how that goes. So they did that several times. So that's how the movie was structured. So you really kind of had to pay attention to follow it because it really wasn't a straight ahead.
And they're doing that because of spycraft. They want you to see what it would have looked like if you just saw it yourself.
Yeah.
You would have bought the deception. But then they go, wait a minute, hold on, and they back up and they show you that.
This is everything that they set up ahead of time.
Yeah, which I really did. I liked that. I usually like very linear movies, but I understand why they did it that way.
Yeah, he did it that way.
My only complaint was the difference in the tone of the damn fight scenes.
I can see what you're saying.
The rest of the movie didn't match that John Wick fucking, you know what I mean? Now I think whoever choreographed that fight, I bet you it's the same stuff that's choreographed the stuff off John Wick.
I was thinking it was similar
and
to
I
John
could see,
Wick as well.
now they're going to do like they did with The Matrix, where all fucking fighting will look like something out of The Matrix. Remember how they did that for a while?
Yeah.
I hope they don't do that.
Well,
because that fucking, that fighting style looks good in a John Wick movie. You know it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
And this... The rest of the movie didn't seem like a comic book movie.
Yeah, it had humor in it, but it was overall a fairly serious, realistic
And then, if you go back to La Femme Nikita, there was a lot of combat in that, but it was just vicious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't real flamboyant. It was just vicious.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of fight scenes. It was mostly just her shooting people. But...
Yeah, and that's another thing about it. They showed some of her, all the missions, or little excerpts from the missions that she did before, and they made it look like the missions were a little too easy, I thought.
Yeah.
Like she was just walking through. Now she was just murdering guys.
Yeah.
But that's not easy to do either.
Yeah.
I mean, at least there's risk. Yeah. Cops and all kinds of stuff, and they made it look a little too easy, I think. But it was a good movie.
Yeah, overall I enjoyed it, and it kept me interested.
Yeah. Would I want to see it again? Probably not, though. On the Femme Nikita, I could watch that 3 or 4 times. I have.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like I'd want to see this one again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you like La Femme Nikita, you should probably check it out. But I don't think it's as good as that.
I don't think it is either.
But I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, we saw Child's Play. And this is a hard reboot of the original Child's Play with Chucky. And I gotta say, this is a perfect summer horror movie. They hit all the old school notes. This was like a really good movie from the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
It's a different Chucky. Originally, Chucky's a doll that was possessed by a dude coming off of death row. That's not the situation. You're dealing with basically an animatronic toy. It's like a little robot, and it can, it's like an AI, like an AI thing or something like that. Yeah, and it can access the cloud, and it can hijack, electronics, and there's something wrong with this. And I don't want to really spoil everything, explain what it is.
Yeah, because it's not demon possession, or it's not the serial killer possession.
No, but
they did a different thing with it.
There is a possibility that there might be something paranormal going on. They leave that open.
Yeah.
Remember how this thing happened? There might be something paranormal mixed with something technological going on.
Yeah.
But it's not really answered. But there's a lot of kids. The hero's like a 13-year-old boy, and this thing's trying to kill his friends. It does kill some of his friends, and it tries to kill his mom. And there's a lot of kids in this movie, and thankfully not a single Kenny. None of the kids are annoying or obnoxious. They all knock it out of the park. All real good performances. and you're rooting for the kids, and the kids say some funny
likable
shit.
Characters. All the characters are likable.
Yeah, the kids say some funny shit, and
like the mom is likable, the neighbors, everybody's likable.
And it's it's got a lot of graphic violence, and then there's a lot
pretty gory.
really good scenes where they're fucking with your mind and shit. It was just a perfect summer. I would call this like a thriller, action, horror adventure with comedy.
Also a comedy.
With comedy.
I'm going to say, the original was kind of a comedy too.
Yeah, it had funny parts.
This one, I think they leaned into the comedy a little bit more. I don't know if I'd call it a straight comedy, but it definitely had a lot of comedic elements in it.
Yeah.
And I actually think it was much funnier than the original.
It is.
The interactions with the characters are funny, just like the way they react to the situations is funny. And I like what they did with the doll. It's creepy. They made him look different.
Yeah.
If you've seen the trailers.
Yeah, he's more powerful than the original Chucky.
Yeah.
And because technology's involved in things like wireless and Bluetooth, actually it opens up more doors for things to happen. And just because you destroy this thing's body, is it in the internet now? Can it get into another one later? They leave all that shit open.
See, that's a possibility.
They leave all that shit open.
It's not a soul or anything. This is it's.
Well, we guess it's not a soul.
I guess it's not a soul.
It might be a mix.
It's like an AI.
Because they show a scene of what made this thing different, and a death did occur.
Yeah.
So you don't know maybe if it was a soul.
It transferred. Oh,
I
gotcha.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So it is open to that.
Yeah.
So it might be slightly possessed. You don't know. And I like the fact that they didn't really come out and tell you what the problem was.
What the problem was, yeah.
So, and I thought it was a masterpiece. In its genre.
It's funny because it's I'm not a huge, I'm not remakes or anything like that. I wish they would do more original ones, but I was I liked the original Child's Play, but I'm not one of those people that's they should remake it.
It wasn't a great movie.
Yeah,
it was a good movie. It was a good movie. It wasn't
not one of my favorite horror movies from the 80s.
This one, they knocked it out of the park, man.
This one was a lot of fun, and we saw it with kind of a late. This is the opening night, right?
Yeah, the crowd was loving it and shit.
And it's it was so much fun. It was laughing and screaming and covering their eyes up and shit like that. It was a blast. It's really fun.
It's a throwback movie. They used exactly the same techniques and the same thing that they always did for the 80s and the 90s to make a great movie like this. They did exactly what they had to do.
Yeah, I really liked it.
And they even had some callbacks to RoboCop and shit like that.
Nice RoboCop.
They knew exactly what kind of movie this was, and that's
like
movie.
I said, it's just a fun, gory, just one you'd rent with your friends back in the 80s that had
exactly.
And they even had an homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in there.
There was some stuff that kind of felt like Poltergeist or Poltergeist 1. There were some callbacks to fucking RoboCop. It knew what kind of movie it was.
Yeah.
And
it didn't take itself seriously at all.
And it was a masterpiece of that genre. Yeah. I think it will go down pretty well. I think it will be. I think it'll
so too. Probably. It's you can some purists might be oh, it's dumb. And
okay, well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What would you rather see again? That again, or Men in Black International?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Rather see this one much.
Yeah, much rather.
Much rather.
This one was a lot more fun than super funny. You see people's face torn off. You get to see a bitch rototilled. It's it's epic.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean.
It was good. It was a good movie. I liked it.
I did too.
I'd buy this on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I would definitely buy this one.
It had that kind of comforting feeling of a 80s, 90s movie where you're
I
know where they're going.
Yeah, they really
I know where they're going. And then they do it and they go, yeah, that's it. And then the music was right. The edit was right.
It's set in the modern day, but
in the modern day, but they did it the right way. It almost felt like a Dev Spielberg movie in a weird way sometimes.
It did, yeah.
Like an old Spielberg movie.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, good one. Definitely recommended.
Yeah.